All right, Ken Range Theory Trader back with you with another video talking about how to plan your week using the weekly chart and going down using top-down analysis. So I have three pairs here: pound yen, dollar or pound dollar, and euro New Zealand. Just three random pairs. Okay, and we're going to start with the weekly chart. Now, this is the pattern that we're looking for: either this or this same chart just flipped upside down. Obviously, if we see candle one and candle two for the weeks, we're looking for a candle three going to the downside, a short bias. If this chart appears to be upside down, we're just looking for, candle three going long, and then we're just trading daily expansion candles from there. So we're either looking for, so our ideal, the priority number one is going to find a weekly chart that's hopefully setting up for week three. So that's the first thing I want to look for. And if I don't see it, then I don't see it. And from there, I'll go to the daily. So just to prove this is random, obviously, we're going to go to the replay option. We're going to click random bar, and we are in 2014. Okay, so I need to start on a Friday, so we'll do that. Actually, no, say it's weekly day. I'm trying to get it so that it's going to give us a fresh week. Okay, we'll try this one. All right, so here's what we got. This should be like Monday. It's tricky because when you're on the weekly, sometimes when you press it forward, it won't give you the whole week at one time. But in any event, all right. So this right here, I would have a long bias. All right. Just because you have a bias, though, it does not mean it's going to play out. But I'm going to mark this low right here. CRT low. Okay. So we have candle one. Let me make this bigger. Candle one, candle two. Okay. That's over 2 weeks. All right. So I'm going to press pause on that one for now and then go to GU. Now, GU just it did sweep already and exploded to the upside. I don't know if news caused this or what, but going into this week, this prior week here, there was no candle range theory type of setup. So from here, I would have had to go down to the daily. That's how that would have worked. So I'll drop down to that in just a second. And then for Euro New Zealand, same basic thing. No candle range theory setup on the weekly. So for this one, I would have had to drop down to the daily. So now let's go back to pound yen, since that was the most favorite one. And what I'll do now is I'll drop down to the daily chart. So pound dollar and pound and euro New Zealand rather, they did not give a clear buy. There was no candle range theory setup from week to week on this one. Okay. So from now on those two, I'm going to just use daily ranges. But for pound yen, I'm going to see if there was a day that we had a candle range theory or just a daily expansion candle with a long bias. So now that I'm on the daily, okay, so this is Monday, and I'll go ahead and just finish this out so this video is not too long. We're going to treat our entry price as if we got in near the daily open. That's about the best I can do because it's not going to give me the 5-minute chart because it's just too far back in time. So Monday looks like it was pretty much a doji pattern. If you would have caught possibly the low of this candle, maybe sometime during Asia, I'm not sure. Let me see, it did go up 120 pips. So that would have been a good trade. If you could have got the low and got out around the high, that would have been a good trade. But let's see if we have any other daily expansion candles to the upside since we had a long bias on GU or GJ. Okay, so this was another one here. So if you could have got the low of this candle or even around the daily open, let's just say that. If you got in around the daily open or even the weekly open, since you're trading the weekly chart, okay, if you're in around the weekly open or daily open of a candle, that's fine too. You possibly could have got about 60 pips out of that one. And typically when you're trading the weekly bias, the most you can hope for is like 2 trades because you will have some retrace days. Very rarely will a pair go 5 days in a row all green. Okay, but you do have Wednesday. That did give us more action to the upside. Now it did sweep this candle's high right here. So if I wasn't using the daily option, I will possibly be looking at this as a high on the daily. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. Candle one, candle two, this is the current high of the week. Okay, prior week high and low doesn't come into play here. But typically, if you're long, you like for price to tap the prior week high. That's like your take profit if you want to hold that long if you're swing trading. Okay. But because this is a possible candle three long on the weekly chart, now I know that I wouldn't take that. Even if it plays out, I don't care because my bias is long for the week. So I'm going to get rid of that. And that's the beauty of using the weekly chart to get your daily biases. So, because like I said, this could still go down. I'm going to go ahead and go forward to see what happens. So it gave a little bit of price action to the downside, but notice it still went up, right? So you could have got in on Monday and held at the weekly open and held all the way to the weekly high, prior week high, and that was good for about 110 pips. All right, so that would have been decent right there. So this was Thursday, and then this was, let's go to Friday. Friday exploded, so you got to break out of the range. That was awesome. Okay, I don't really teach breakouts in terms of once it hits the prior week high. After that, you're on your own. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how to predict the price at that level. It might work, it might not. So, but it did go up another 144 pips, so that is great. So there you go. This was a rare instance where price just all 5 days were green: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But you see now why this is my preference, because when you get a candle or a weekly candle three, okay, remember here, candle three should be a straight move. Okay, this is just a short example, but now you see a long example: candle one, candle two, candle three, candle one, candle two, candle three. That's why I like candle threes. Okay, candle three, big aggressive moves. That's ideally how it should work out. Now, we already have the whole week played out for GU and Euro New Zealand, so I can't go through it candle by candle. But what I can do is see if there were any CRT setups. So remember, the weekly did not give us a bias, but we do have Monday through Friday here. So I'm going to go back down to the daily and see what it did present. And what we could have got here on GU on the daily, and sometimes it'll overlap, but I'll just go ahead and let me get rid of the weekly levels for the prior week. We'll get rid of that. And I'll do the current week. There we go. So when I trade the daily chart, candle 2 has to make the high of the week. What do I mean by that? This candle right here in the middle. Okay, whatever you think candle 2 is on the daily chart has to make the low or high of the week. In this case, this is candle 2. So let's mark our range. Candle range high, candle range low. Okay, so we're not trading candle 2. We wait for candle 2 to play out, and then we look for, again, candle 3. All right, so candle 3 was on Tuesday. If you got in around the open price on Tuesday, sorry, my mouse doesn't want to cooperate with me. Give me a second here. Okay, around the open price on Tuesday for the daily candle, you could have got like 48 pips to the tick, 48, 50 pips. And obviously we see that it just did a straight rise. So sometimes when it does sweep the prior week high, you may be able to hold it a little longer. So you got candle 3, and then you got 4, 5, and 6 if you're steady counting. So high of the week wasn't created until Friday. So, but that's how that just worked out. But just trading traditional candle range theory pattern, this would have been my setup right here. This candle 3. Now it didn't necessarily. Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, this would have been good for a candle 4 setup, and I'll tell you why. Because it closed outside of the range. So because candle 3 closed outside of the range, this would have been a valid. Yeah, you could have been good taking a candle 4. But I don't trade anything past candle 4. So you did get 2 setups on GU, one and then that one. For candle 4s, though, what I like to do is to try to get a possible level of retracement. You can use a fib and see if price retraces to 50% of candle 3. Okay, so let's make this real simple here. Okay, this is the range: candle 1, candle 2, candle 3. So even if you miss candle 3, because candle 3 closed outside of the range, see if you can get candle 4. This was Wednesday. It retraced and then skyrocketed out. Okay, so even if you would have got in around the daily open when this candle flipped green, that would have been good for another 50 to 60 pips. All right, trading the breakout of the range. And that's it. But again, I don't trade 5 and I don't trade 6, just 4. 4 is the best I can do. So I look for 2 continuations, 3 and 4. After that, I don't mess with it. Okay, that's just me though. All right, so that's that. And now let's look at Euro New Zealand. And remember, we're only trading the daily. So let's see what we found here, if there is anything. This is like an imperfect candle range theory where you have the high, higher high, lower high, like a swing high right here. But in all honesty, I don't really see. There's one forming right here, but as far as taking a trade, nah. And it's gonna happen. Sometimes you're just not gonna get um, setups, even though the price action moves and it looks good. But does it match this right here? See, this is what I'm looking for. Candle one, candle two, candle three. Do I see that exactly like that on this one? Not really. This comes close, but this candle two, it does create the high of the week. So I mean, if you want to chance it, you can. But this candle two did not close inside the range of candle one. So sometimes what I'll do, if I think I have a candle one like this, like that, I do trade sometimes what's called a false breakout, whereby if it doesn't break it by more than like 10 pips or so, I'll see if I can get a reversal if candle two is the high. So candle two, let's see how many pips it closed above candle one. See, it closed 23 pips above it. That's just not something I would mess with. That's like a legit breakout to me. So, yeah, and you got continuous to the downside. But like I said, I would just be looking for another pair that's a little cleaner. That's just me. So Euro New Zealand to me didn't give anything on the daily that I would have taken. I would like to see though if this following Monday does give a candle three, because you got candle one, candle two, that does create the low of the week. So I'll be long going into this on Monday. Let's just press forward to see if it gives it to us. Not really. Okay, so it had doji. So yeah, you did get some price action to the upside. So if you would have got out at near the high, that would have been good for about 84 pips. So it did give some. It just came back, and that does happen. But that's it. Okay, so that's how you plan the whole week, starting with the weekly and then going down. But remember, you just because you have a bias doesn't mean it's going to play out. So what I like to do is just trade what you actually see. Don't force any trades. And again, if you don't see the weekly, go down to the daily. And if you don't see anything on the daily, go down to the 8 hour. So, matter of fact, I'll do that on this one if it gives it to me. I don't know if it will because it's so far in the past. So, but because there was nothing on the daily, let's see if 8 hour gave anything. If it gives it to us, okay, it does. All right. Now, when I'm trading 8 hour charts, candle two, this candle right here, has to create the high of the day. All right. So let's see. See if my mouse will cooperate now. Okay, it is a little bit. And there's still really, let's see, this is, oh, that was Monday. Okay, my bad. Let me go back. I need to go back to Monday here. And no, that's just really, you got this, but that's Friday still leading into, yeah, no, there's just nothing here. It did give straight price action to the downside, but there's nothing that clean that I would consider taking. It's just not there. So again, you don't force it. Okay, you should be able to recognize a candle range theory trade in seconds. If you don't see this or something close to this, and this is a very easy pattern to recognize, candle one and two, candle ones and twos are like unmistakable. Okay, but don't force them, and they're just not here to the downside. Okay, it's just straight price action. So like I said, don't force it. Okay, so this video is long enough. Again, hope that helps with your top-down analysis. Start with the weekly, work your way down. And if you want to drop down to the 4 hour, you can do that too. I don't. But it's up to you. But I appreciate your time and attention. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.